Okay, we're here again for another HTML tutorial. This is lesson 3. If you're watching this tutorial, I hope you've watched lesson 1 and lesson 2. If you're new, I would like you to watch the other 2 tutorials. We've gone through 2 tutorials and we've learned a lot so far, and we've seen how interesting HTML can be. I'm sure you can agree with me that HTML is very simple to learn. Today in this tutorial, we're going to be talking about headings and paragraph, and I'm going to start with headings. What you can see on the screen, if you've been following this tutorial, I'm sure you understand what you can see. We said headings are denoted with the H tag. So if you want to write a heading in HTML, you put the H tag and put your heading. This is a heading. It's as simple as that. That's how you write your heading in HTML. This is a heading. There's something you need to know. There's something I omitted intentionally. In HTML, when you want to write a heading, the first heading has to be written like this: H1. This denotes heading 1. So in a full, when you're writing a website, there are so many headings. The first heading is denoted with H1, and this tells the browser that this is the most important heading in the document, and because of that, this is rendered as very bold, and we're going to see that in a moment. And if you want to write another heading in the same document, you write heading 2. This is heading 2. Close it. H2, close the tag. This is heading 2. This H2 tells the browser that this is the second most important heading in the document, and it's slightly smaller than this. This heading 1 is larger than this. If you want to write yet another heading, you put H3. This is heading 3. Close the tag. And what this does is that this tells the browser that this is more important than this, and this is more important than this, and all their sizes will vary, and that's how you go from heading 1, 2, 3 down to 6. So this is how you write your heading in HTML. This is heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, heading 5 down to heading 6, and this tells the browser that this is the most important, followed by this, followed by this, followed by this, followed by this, and down to heading 6. Let's see how this looks like. Let's try and save this file and see how it looks like. So if you watch our first tutorial, you'll know how to save this. So I'm going to come here and save it as my website .html. That's very important. Save it as .html. The encoding should be UTF-8 and saved. So I'll go to where I've saved it. So this is the file I just saved, my website .html. So I'll open it with Google Chrome. So you can see the explanation I gave. This is heading 1, is the biggest. This is heading 2. This is heading 3. This is heading 4. This is heading 5. Heading 6. So you see how the browser rendered it from the most important to the least important. So that's how the heading, the H1 tag works. If you change this, let's change this to heading 1. For example, change this to heading 1. And change this to heading 6, and you see what happens. The most important heading is always given as heading 1. So you save this, go back to the browser and refresh. You see what happened? Heading 6 has become the most important heading. Heading 6 has become the most important, and heading 1 has become the least important, because we changed this to H1 and we changed this to H6. So I'm sure you understand that. So I would like you to try this yourself. Practice make perfect. As we are learning, let's keep practicing it so that you get everything I'm saying. The heading is very important. Search engine uses the headings to index the structure and content of the web page. Users often skim a web page by its heading. When you go to a website, and when you go to a blog, for example, and there's a whole blog post, most times you don't want to read the whole blog post. You just look for the most important part. You just look for a heading. Let's say you are reading on cars and you are looking for a Tesla car. You just go to the heading where it talks about Tesla cars. You skip all the headings that talks about Peugeot, talks about Mercedes, talk about Hyundai, talks about BMW and all that. So that's another importance of heading. Search engine uses headings to index the structure and content of your web page, and web users also use headings to skim through websites. If you see blog post, you understand what I'm talking about. Bloggers usually use headings to structure their pages. So when we rendered this, we saw how the first heading was very big, but this H1 tag is not used to make text very bold. That is not what is used to make text bold. This H1 tag is only for headings. Because the H1 tag make text bold does not mean if you want a text to be bold, you come and write H1. No, you're already destroying the structure of the web page. The H1 tag is only used for headings. If you want to make a text bold, like we saw in the last tutorial, there is an attribute called the style attribute. You can use that to make text bold. You're going to see that when we go to the style, when we talk about styling, when we talk about CSS and all that. We've seen how to write headings, how to create a heading in HTML page, seen how to use heading to structure pages. I would like us to see a head element. Since we're talking about headings, let's talk about the head element. The head element is different from heading. The HTML head element is a container of meta data. It's different from heading. The head element is always in between the HTML tag and the body tag up here. This is where the head element is different from the heading element. The head element, like I said, contains some meta information about the web page. So that is where the head element is. And what type of meta information does this head element contain? For example, the head element contains the meta chassis, that is the UTF-8 that was saved our file as. So if you want to declare the chassis of this document, you come to the head element and write something like meta chassis. So we are giving the meta information to the browser. When the browser is rendering this page, it sees this. We can also put the language, telling the browser that this is an English document written in American English. So you see that there are many meta information, like the title. Let's put the title. The title meta information tells the title of the page. Like if you open a Facebook page, at the top you're going to see Facebook at the top of the browser, not inside the page now, at the top of the browser. Let's try that and see. Let's name this web page hello world. Hello world. When we run it now, you will see what that title does. So let's save this, Ctrl S, save. So let's go back to our browser and refresh our page. We've already opened this before. So see, hello world. This has changed to hello world because we have put some meta information here in the head element. So that's what the head element does. We've declared the language, we've declared the meta chassis, and we've declared the title of the page, which is hello world. And we can now see that here, hello world. Okay, let's try and change that to, let's say, YouTube, to YouTube. save it, and then come back to our browser and refresh. See, it has changed to YouTube. So you see what that does. I'm sure you understand that now. So this is not YouTube. Let's change it to hello world and leave it there. The head element contains the title, the script, meta informations about the page. And we've also seen the H1 element, which is the heading element, which define HTML headings. That's what we've seen so far in this tutorial. Now let's go to the paragraph element. How do we write paragraphs in HTML? This is our heading for the document, and we want to write our paragraph. So how do we write a paragraph in HTML? We use the P tag for paragraph. So if you want to write a paragraph, your paragraph goes in here. The paragraph goes in here. So this is a paragraph about. So this is a document with two paragraphs as we can see. This is heading 1. This is the first paragraph. This is the paragraph about my first website. I'm so excited and I don't know how to build websites. I learned how to build websites on YouTube from a YouTube channel called Short Videos Hub. The HTML element defines paragraph. So that's how you write paragraph. After your heading, get your first paragraph. Write your second. When you're done with this paragraph, you start another paragraph, and when the web browser sees this first paragraph and the second paragraph, what it does is that the browser automatically adds some white space, imagine before and after the first paragraph and the second paragraph. Let's see how that works. Let's save and go back to our browser and refresh. So you see, this is heading 1. This is the first paragraph, and you see how there is a margin from this one to this one. So that's how it works. This is our first paragraph and this is our second paragraph. I would like you to try this out also. So when you want to write a paragraph, the P element is what is used. You cannot be sure how HTML will display. Large or small screen or resize window will create different results. With HTML, you cannot change the output by adding extra space or extra line in your HTML code. The browser will remove any extra space and extra line when the page is displayed. For example, as you can see, this is in 2 lines, but when we rendered it in the browser, what did you see? It displayed as a single line. Whereas there was something whereas I braked this in the document, but the browser rendered it as a straight line. So what is the solution to this? If I want this to start in another line, well, we'll use another element. And what element do we use? Remember from our second tutorial, we talked about the BR element. Do you remember? So like the browser ignored this space that I put here, but if I put the BR element, you said the BR element is an empty element because it doesn't have a closing tag, it doesn't have element in between, it doesn't have a closing element, so we'll call it an empty element. It is used to show line breaks. When I save this now, let me put another break here so that the browser will not ignore that again. Save the file. Let's go back to our browser and refresh and see what happens. So you see, there's a break now. See how the BR tag works. So that's how you want to put a break in your paragraph. Use the BR tag. But there's something else we can do. In the case of a poem, if instead of writing the BR tag over and over and over and over, instead of keep writing the BR tag after every line break, there's something else we can do that the browser will not ignore our breaks. So what do? I've done this. If I render it, everything like this will be on one single line, but there's something we can do to solve that problem. So what do we do to solve this, to stop this from showing on one line? We use the pre element. This is what we call the HTML pre element, and when the browser sees this, it respects all these line breaks. It doesn't ignore it. That's what the pre elements do. The HTML pre element defines pre-formatted text. So when the browser sees this, it renders it as it was formatted, as it was pre-formatted. Every content, all the elements in the pre tag is displayed in a fixed width and a fixed font, and it preserves both space and line breaks. That's what this pre element does. Everything inside the pre element has a fixed width and a fixed font and all the spaces and lines are preserved. Let's see this in our browser. So we save it, go back to our browser and refresh. So you see there's a fixed size and a fixed font. See, the font of this is different. The font has changed, if you notice, and all our spaces and breaks were not ignored. They were all represented. So that's what the pre element does. I would like you to try that yourself. So far we talked about the p element, which we said is used to denote paragraph. This is a paragraph. The p element is used to denote paragraph. In the paragraph, then we talked about the br tag to show line breaks. Then we also talk about the pre elements that preserve our pre-formatted text, that preserves our pre-format in a text. So I hope this was really insightful. You've learned a lot. For a complete list of all available HTML tag, I want you to continue to watch this tutorial. We'll talk about more HTML tags in our next tutorial. This tutorial is totally free. We're not charging you, but we'd like you to show us some support by subscribing, liking, sharing our videos. Thank you very much. See you in the next tutorial. We're going to be learning a lot, so don't skip any tutorial. Turn on the notification bell so you'll be informed when we upload our next video. Bye bye, take care. I'm Shola. Enjoy, have a nice week. Cheers.